Would I buy Avalanche in the bear market? Now, this is going to take a little bit of legwork because we only have one prior cycle to analyze, and we can see that Avalanche did very well last cycle, but was it a one-trick wonder, or does it have the potential to put a higher high in next cycle? And so what this entails is a bit of a deep dive in understanding Avalanche as an ecosystem, understanding the team behind them, their tokenomics, lots of things like that. I do want to tell you up front that I came away very impressed. Having owned zero Avalanche, AVAX crypto ever in my life, I came away very impressed with what I saw. And so personally for me, this is going to be a strong yes, and I just want to throw that out there. But it would be of your benefit to understand why. Now, looking at the charts, we can see first major bull run for Avalanche this previous cycle, this current cycle, and so we'll see what happens next cycle. It launched in 2020, in the fall of 2020, and was just hanging around as they were, ramping up for DeFi, for Bitcoin to reach new highs. And then it went from about $3 to, I believe it was about $140, peaked in November of 2021, and now it's down to $19.26 as of today. It got as low as about $19 or so. And so it could certainly go further down, but first of all, just looking at this chart, Avalanche is down about 85% from its peak. That has me pretty excited because, I do believe that it's going to put in a higher high. Now, Avalanche as an ecosystem is something to explore, very much so. And I do have the Wonderland chart posted here because Wonderland is an example of something that was built on Avalanche. And we had this Wonderland craze. They were promising something like 90,000% APY returns. And even despite that, I was telling people, stay away from Wonderland. But what does that have to do with Avalanche? I mean, that is not a knock on Avalanche. That Wonderland was basically a Ponzi scheme. What it is just you needed to buy Avalanche to get Wonderland. And then when people exited their Wonderland positions at the very peak and then all the way down, they had to transfer to Avalanche, and then that would cause Avalanche's price to go up. But then they would have sold their Avalanche. So Wonderland peaked on November 7th of 2021, and then Avalanche peaked on November 21st, 2 weeks later. And that was as people were exiting their Wonderland positions. And so to get to Wonderland, that is what drove the price of Avalanche up really high. And I'm not expecting something similar to happen to Wonderland in the future, but I am expecting things as people build on Avalanche's platform, because Avalanche is a layer 1 blockchain solution, that they're going to need to have access to Avalanche in order to buy those other cryptos like Wonderland, but like things that may come after that. And so this is the kind of cryptocurrency that I really like. If you go ahead and watch my Binance video, that was my third one in this series, you needed Binance to get access to all sorts of Binance Smart Chain cryptocurrencies. Binance exploded during the meme coin run of the spring of 2021 because you needed Binance to get PancakeSwap, you needed PancakeSwap to get those meme coins. And so it's a similar thing where if you need a cryptocurrency to get access to other cryptocurrencies, that particular cryptocurrency is going to do very well, in my opinion. And so as long as people build on Avalanche, which I believe we're still very much in the early stages of Avalanche, then people are going to need Avalanche. They're going to drive the price up. And that's not all with Avalanche. There are some other things that I would say I'm really impressed by. In particular, their founder. I have to say this, Ayman Gunserer. Forgive me if I mispronounced his name. He's Turkish. He is an associate professor at Cornell University. And I've got to tell you this. I am more impressed with him, the research that I've done on him, than on anyone else. I'm more impressed with him than Charles Hoskinson, than Vitalik Buterin, than Gavin Wood for Polkadot. And I really hold Gavin Wood in high regard. This man, I believe, is the kind of man who if I were to put my faith in one particular person in the blockchain space, it's going to be difficult to find somebody that I want to put my faith more in. Something fascinating about him, the research that I've done on him, is in particular, he was working on cryptography and on trying to design a cryptocurrency something like 10 years before Bitcoin even launched. He saw the future. And so personally, I'm looking at this man and it's like, I want to learn whatever I can from him. There's a great deal to learn from him because he's so forward looking. And so I couldn't give a higher, higher endorsement for a cryptocurrency based off of the team, or at least the founder in this regard. But there's other things too with Avalanche that I would say I'm impressed with. Looking at their ecosystem, we have Aave and Curve, two lending platforms built on Avalanche. We have access to Sushi Swap. We have some NFT platforms, Tops NFTs and Xcur, aka Curate. Now, I'm not as sold on, Tops. We'll see. It seems like a no-brainer to me that trading cards would make their way to NFTs, and I haven't really seen that done well yet. And, I'm looking at you, NBA, oh my goodness, NBA Top Shot. I'm not impressed. It seems simple to me. Just make trading cards as NFTs, but they're doing these things with moments. There's much to be lacking. And so maybe Tops will figure it out, but I don't really think of Tops as a really, Tops is a significant brand, but the two major cards, the two major sports that we're seeing, that we would see phenomenal potential with cards in, would be basketball and football. And I think of Tops, maybe I'm wrong, but I think of Tops more as a baseball type card company. Now, Xcur, I'm not big on Xcur. I haven't been big on them for a while. I did a deep dive on them. I made a video on them. I don't expect much, but there's potential. There's potential with NFTs. They're in the space. There's potential with, for sure with DeFi. There is potential with metaverse. And so that's something that I'm really curious to see what happens with Avalanche as they grow into the metaverse sphere. I have been reading a little bit of their intentions, and whether or not those intentions end up reaching full fruition, whatever you want to call it, metaverse, according to Goldman Sachs, is potentially an $8 trillion industry. Now, Facebook and Microsoft are going to gobble up a lot of that, but if Avalanche can get their hands on a portion of that, then that's only going to be beneficial for Avalanche. And so just looking into this, do I think Avalanche is going to put in a higher high next cycle? I would say so with a great deal of confidence. They're at $19.39 now. Even if they just reach their previous high, that's something like, a 7x. So this seems like a good investment. And of course, it's one of those things where things do need to line up, and that cryptocurrencies, as we have learned more about the sphere, it is a sphere that benefits from easing from central banks over tightening. And so if for some crazy reason between now and the 2028 Bitcoin halving, we just see more and more tightening, then Avalanche and a lot of other cryptocurrencies aren't really going to do all that much significance. They're going to have some scam pumps, but they're not going to reach new all-time highs. But I would say with a great deal of confidence that we are in a new era in monetary policy where it's just basically tightening and loosening, tightening and loosening. And so will there be some period of easing between now and between the next Bitcoin halving and the one after that? I would say certainly. And it's in that period of time that we're going to see something like Avalanche do very well. And so, listen, my research on this cryptocurrency prior to today was lacking a little bit, and I didn't really expect to come away as impressed as I have come away. And so I would give this a much stronger endorsement than I realized. But this is not financial advice. Do your own research. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on Avalanche as an ecosystem. I didn't really talk about, oh man. All right, I'm going to have to talk about Avalanche's tokenomics at another time. I will say this, wait for Avalanche, because they're pretty highly inflationary now. That's not going to be the case forever. But I would say wait until maybe this time in 2024 before getting in. But I will talk about that another time, and check out my Twitter account for a chart that I posted on this day, July 15th of 2022. And you can see what I'm talking about with the tokenomics. But I've gone long, so I've got to end for today. But I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful rest of your week, wonderful weekend. I will see you in another video.